Well, can you measure up when you're measuring stuff? How long is it? How long can you measure up when you're measuring stuff? How long is it? How long on Oh the Humanities? Hey! Welcome to Oh the Humanities! Your home for language arts, social studies, and humanity. I'm your host, Mr. Mellow. You know, the other day I told my kids that we're going to read short stories, and they rejoiced. They jumped for joy. And then I dropped 20 pages right in front of them. They started weeping, and through their tears they said, Mr. Mellow, this story is not short. This is quite a long story, actually. So it begs the question. How short is a short story? First, what is a short story? Well, Edgar Allan Poe, author of famous tales such as The Telltale Heart and The Cask of Amontillado, said that a short story is a story that can be enjoyed in one sitting. As opposed to getting the whole meal like you would with a novel, you're getting a little morsel, a tasty little snack. Novels usually have several major characters and complex plots with lots of interweaving subplots. You see, in a short story, you're not getting this grand epic adventure where you're going to save the whole world. You have a main character who solves a problem or a conflict in one simple package. Here are some examples. In The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, it's about a couple finding each other the perfect gifts, with an ironic twist. In The Monkey's Paw by W. W. Jacobs, you have a family who comes into the possession of a cursed relic that grants wishes, and they end up regretting what they wished for. In The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, a small town hosts a lottery, and nothing bad happens. No spoilers. Read it. You see, all of these stories deal with one fairly simple concept or conflict explored fully, but in a small space. I used information from 3 websites, Writing World, Readsy Blog, and Writer's Digest to determine that the average short story is usually considered to be somewhere between 1,000 to 7,500 words, or anywhere from 4 up to 30 pages. So where can you find and read great short stories? Well, obviously we have those classic short stories that we read in English class that live in some dusty old textbook, but you can actually read new and current short stories too. Check out writing contests, literary magazines, or find a great short story collection or anthology. However, I bet that even if you're not a big reader, you have more experience with short stories than you think. You see, that silly TV sitcom opening that I recorded for this video is actually relevant because you've probably seen lots of short stories in television form. So let's take Disney Plus, because that's hot, and if I talk about some of the shows from there, maybe the YouTube algorithm will be nicer to me. WandaVision is what everybody is talking about right now. See, a show like WandaVision is a lot like a novel. Each episode's a chapter, and the show tells one story from start to finish. But another popular Disney Plus show, The Mandalorian, is full of short stories. Especially in Season 1, there are a lot of episodes where it's completely self-contained to that one 45-minute stretch. The Mandalorian finds a problem and solves it in that one episode. This is even more true of sitcoms like The Office or The Simpsons or Full House, where in 20 minutes the characters solve one simple problem. These are all versions of short stories. They're a story that you can watch in one sitting. Or if you binge watch like me, maybe you watch 12 in one sitting. We've actually still got a problem. Those kids in my class who are really disappointed that the short stories we're reading are like 10, 20, 30 pages, is there an alternative for them? What if a story was wildly short? We talked about how the minimum short story length is like 1,000 words. What if you had a story even shorter than that? Well, there's a name for that. A short story even shorter than 1,000 words is commonly referred to as flash fiction, and it gets even smaller. A story under 100 words is called microfiction, and it's a great challenge for a writer because, how are you supposed to develop a character and explore a conflict in as few words as humanly possible? I'll probably get a lot of flack if I don't talk about the most famous example of flash fiction or microfiction that there is, the 6-word story. Legend has it that Ernest Hemingway won a $10 bet with some of his writer buddies that he couldn't write a compelling story in just 6 words. Now, historically, there's probably actually no way that it was really Hemingway that wrote this story because the first attribution to Hemingway came like 30 years after his death. I think people just like to say it's Hemingway because he is a big macho short story man who uses little words, few words. He doesn't use like tiny words. He uses big words too. He's big Hemingway short story man. Hills like white elephants, a day's wait, and snows of Kilimanjaro. Anyway, let's hear the 6-word story. And brace yourself, because it's honestly, for 6 words, super depressing, really sad, actually. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. People have gotten really intrigued, though, by the challenge of trying to write a story in 6 words. There's actually this big trend among writers called 6-word memoirs. A memoir is like someone's life story. So can you tell your life story in just 6 words? Well, let's try it together. I'm going to give you my 6-word memoir, but I want you to go in the comments below and give me your 6-word memoir as well. Here's mine. Mr. Mellow, bald man teaching English. Thank you. Yes, thank you. What can I say? I'm a writer. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Oh the Humanities.
Well, can you measure up when you measure
a tasty little snack. Yum, yummy. Yummy in my tummy. Why'd I have to make that as weird as possible?